What if the sisterhood you watched for months was never meant to last? For an entire press cycle, it felt undeniable. Two women finishing each other's sentences, holding hands during interviews, getting emotional on cue, but somehow making it look unscripted, calling each other soul-connected, saying things that didn't sound like generic co-star compliments, but like something deeper, something personal, and the internet believed it. Then the camera stopped rolling, and almost overnight, the energy shifted. During the Wicked press tour, the connection between Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo didn't feel subtle, it felt intense. Their body language was loud. The way they leaned into each other during interviews, the lingering eye contact, the emotional vulnerability when they spoke about singing together for the first time. Cynthia described it as intimate, as safe, as something rare. That's not light language. That's not, "we had a good time on set." That's the kind of wording you use when you believe you've found something meaningful. They even got matching tattoos. Permanent ink. That alone raised eyebrows. Because tattoos aren't promotional props. They're forever. And when fans saw that level of closeness, they didn't feel crazy for thinking this bond extended beyond PR. But the second the promotional cycle wrapped, something felt off. The interviews slowed, the appearances thinned out, the visible closeness faded, and instead of continued public support, what followed was silence. Especially during a period when Cynthia was facing heavy online backlash. Some of it crossed the line into outright racist harassment. Others criticized her appearance, her demeanor, even questioned her place in the spotlight. The tone of the discourse got ugly, fast. Fans expected visible solidarity, a statement, a public defense, even a simple show of support. Instead, Ariana stayed quiet. And in Hollywood, silence can be louder than words. While Cynthia appeared to still be emotionally attached to the bond they built, Ariana seemed to be stepping into something new. That's when the Audrey Hepburn conversation resurfaced. For months, fans had noticed Ariana leaning into an old Hollywood aesthetic. The vintage silhouettes, the soft glam transformation, the classic posture. It didn't look random, it looked intentional, like someone preparing to inhabit an image before it was officially announced. When a reporter once asked her directly about playing Audrey in a biopic, she laughed it off, smiled, dodged the question. It looked polished, media-trained, almost too smooth. Now insiders claim the biopic isn't just speculation, it's reportedly in motion, and Ariana is allegedly attached to lead. Suddenly that dodge doesn't feel casual anymore, it feels strategic. And here's where the timeline gets uncomfortable. While Cynthia was still navigating backlash and public scrutiny, Ariana was reportedly building a new on-set connection tied to her next major project. Whispers started circulating that she had grown close to another co-star, that the emotional intensity fans once saw during Wicked had quietly shifted to a new dynamic. The transition looked seamless, maybe too seamless. Longtime followers of Ariana know this pattern isn't new. She bonds hard, fast, intensely. Think back to Ricky Alvarez. Matching tattoos within weeks. Big gestures, big emotion. Then it ended almost as quickly as it began. Then Pete Davidson. A whirlwind romance that went from dating to engagement in record time. Tattoos again. Public declarations. Emotional escalation. And then a split within months. Ariana has always loved deeply and publicly, but she also pivots quickly when the energy changes. So when fans look at the Wicked era and see the same intensity, the tattoos, the vulnerability, the protective energy, and then watch it cool off just as rapidly, they don't see coincidence. They see a cycle. But this situation feels heavier. Because unlike a romantic relationship, this wasn't just personal, it was professional. It was public. And it unfolded under a microscope. Reports began suggesting that behind the scenes, the friendship may not have been as balanced as it appeared. That Cynthia might have been more emotionally invested. That Ariana viewed the connection through a different lens. More aligned with the promotional era than something meant to extend beyond it. Then blind items started surfacing. One hinted that an A-list singer was quietly blaming her foreign-born co-star for certain unhealthy habits during a stressful press cycle. Another suggested the two were no longer speaking. No names were mentioned, but the internet connected dots immediately. The narrative subtly shifted. Instead of framing both women as navigating shared pressure, some outlets began implying Cynthia was somehow the destabilizing factor. That separation brought improvement, that things were better now. If you were Cynthia, how would that feel? Imagine publicly investing in a bond, describing it as intimate, calling someone a sister, enduring months of criticism while that person stays silent, and then watching whispers suggest you were the problem. That's layered hurt, especially when you were the one visibly defending your co-star throughout the backlash. Cynthia appeared protective during interviews, quick to shut down criticism, quick to reaffirm loyalty. The energy looked personal, and if insiders are even partially accurate, Cynthia may have believed that loyalty went both ways. But what happens when one person views a connection as emotional sanctuary, and the other views it as a chapter? That's where things reportedly escalated. Online chatter now suggests Cynthia may be exploring legal options, allegedly arguing emotional distress, allegedly claiming she was left exposed to harassment, while the narrative around her quietly shifted in damaging ways. Nothing has been confirmed in court. No official filings have surfaced. But the whispers are getting louder. And if even part of that is true, this moves beyond internet drama. Because now it's about accountability. Was the silence strategic? Was it contractual? Was it advised by teams trying to protect image? Or was it simply avoidance? Hollywood is built on timing, reinvention, optics. And Ariana's brand has always been carefully curated. After personal controversies in recent years, her team has worked to stabilize her image. Softer visuals, more controlled appearances, aesthetic evolution, a pivot toward timeless elegance. The Audrey transformation fits that narrative perfectly. But where does that leave Cynthia? To some fans, she looks like someone who got emotionally invested during a high-intensity chapter, and then found herself standing alone when the spotlight turned harsh. To others, this is simply two adults drifting apart after a project ends. Industry standard, nothing sinister. But here's the uncomfortable question no one wants to say out loud. What if both are true? What if the connection was real in the moment, raw, vulnerable, intense, but never designed to survive beyond it? What if Ariana's emotional style is immersive but temporary? And what if Cynthia assumed permanence where there was only momentum? That mismatch can feel like betrayal. And betrayal hits harder when it happens in public. Right now, Ariana appears focused on her next era. New project, new aesthetic, possibly new close co-star bond forming. The word bestie being used again. Fans noticing familiar patterns? Meanwhile, Cynthia's public narrative still carries traces of the backlash period. The memes, the commentary, the uncomfortable tone that crossed lines. If a lawsuit truly lands, it won't just test their relationship. It will test Ariana's brand resilience. Would fans rally behind her? Would they question the silence more critically? Would the industry quietly settle it before headlines explode? Or will this fade like so many Hollywood fallouts do? Intense for a month, forgotten by awards season. What started as emotional interviews and matching tattoos has evolved into something more complicated. Timing, loyalty, silence, reinvention, narrative control. Then maybe the friendship was genuine and simply couldn't survive the pressure. Maybe it was always more strategic than it appeared. Or maybe this is what happens when intense creative bonds form under a spotlight and dissolve once the spotlight moves on. One thing is certain, the energy changed and people felt it. So now the real question isn't whether they were close. It's whether one of them believed it meant more than it ever did. And in Hollywood, that difference can change everything.